In the past, President Donald Trump has said he is against mail-in ballots. He's mentioned fraud, but on Monday, he sent out a tweet changing his tune in regards to the security of mail-in ballots. Has anything changed?
No, mail-in voting has integrity. Science and studies have shown that there is very, very minuscule fraud, if ever, in mail-in voting, and that's why he's availed himself of it so many times in the past. The fact of the matter is, right now, in the midst of this global pandemic, it's more important than ever that we don't all crowd into the voting booths on November 3rd. And so the fact that we can walk into our clerk's office starting today and vote, or you can go online and order your absentee ballot, fill it out quickly and get it in. We're really trying to get people to get these ballots in well before November 3rd so that every vote gets counted and we can move as swiftly as possible on Election Day.
Now, you mentioned moving as swiftly as possible on Election Day. There is a push to actually allow local clerks to begin processing some of the votes ahead of time. Where do things stand with that, and what are the prospects of that passing look like?
Yeah, so the Senate passed that bill this week. We're hopeful that the House will take action quickly. What this does is give our local clerks, and these are clerks all across the state who are going to be inundated, right? We're expecting historic numbers of absentee ballots. It just gives them the ability to process. And all process means it's not counting. It's just simply taking the ballot out of the envelope that they mailed it in and putting it in the appropriate precinct. So on Election Day, those ballots can be counted faster. If it all has to wait until Election Day, we may not have results for days. And that would be a shame, because I know we all want to know the result of this election as quickly as we can, knowing that we've got to get it right. And so this is an important tool. I'm hopeful that the House will get it to my desk soon so I can sign it into law.
Some other timely news that we need to ask you about. Just hours ago, you indicated that you would sign the $62.8 billion state budget deal. What are some of the priorities in that budget?
Well, we know that the pandemic has hit us all hard. Every state in the nation is going through this. Michigan is not alone. We've been advocating in the federal government to get this fourth supplemental done. It's stalled in the United States House, and I'm hoping the Trump administration puts some pressure on and gets it done. But what we were prepared for was a $3 billion shortfall in our budget. What we ended up with was a $1 billion shortfall. It's because our economy has come back and we're in a stronger position than just about every other state. And so that's prevented us from having to look to make cuts and balance a budget through cuts in education. So we've held education harmless. We've made sure that higher education is as well. We're making investments in upskilling and things like Futures for Frontliners, which is the program that I introduced to give the people that have stayed on the front line to protect us all a path to more skills so they get even higher paying jobs. And so there's a lot of things that we should be proud of in this budget. And the fact that we were able to do it in a bipartisan way is really important, because the last thing we need is another protracted budget fight. And so I'll put my signature on this before the end of this fiscal year, and we can keep moving forward.
All right. Thank you so much, Governor. So that is obviously going to be a really big deal. Tell us a little more. I do want to get back to the voting, because a lot of people are thinking about that. When folks go to cast their ballot today, what are some of the protections that'll be in place to help people do it safely? You mentioned the pandemic earlier. That's never far from the minds of anyone here in Michigan.
Well, so what we want to remind people is, if you go to your clerk's office to vote, bring your driver's license or some form of ID. That is Michigan law. And we want to make sure, if you take the pains to get there, that you're able to actually cast that ballot. We also want you to wear your mask, to stay 6 feet apart from others. Wash your hands when you get home, and use some sanitizer if you have some when you get back in the car or back out of the building. And just know that your clerk's offices have PPE as well. They want to keep you safe. They want to make sure that your vote gets counted. And so make sure you read the directions too. It would be a shame to cast your vote and sign in the wrong place. And that's why between now and Election Day, to make time to do this. And if you can't do it today or in the coming days, make your plan so your vote gets in and your vote gets counted.
Governor, there was a rally Wednesday at the state capitol calling for the mask mandate to be lifted for Michigan high school athletes, football, soccer, volleyball. Some parents are arguing that the masks can create breathing difficulties, especially for high impact sports. Are you planning to reconsider that mask mandate? Do you have anything to say to parents who are concerned about that?
I'm not going to reconsider the mandate. It is really important that we mask up. It is the singular best tool we have. And COVID-19 is still present all around the state. And the thing about COVID-19 is it's a novel virus. We still don't know how long of an impact it will have on a young person who gets it. They may not have symptoms immediately. They may not have the high fatalities that older people do. However, there is evidence that shows they are long haulers, that months after having it, there can still be compromised breathing and enlargement of the heart in some studies. And so it's really important that we keep our kids masked up. And if they can't mask up while participating in these close in contact endeavors where they're breathing heavily, then perhaps now is not the time to be engaging in those activities. We're still in the midst of a global pandemic. It is incredibly serious. And if we want to keep re-engaging our economy, we've come so far and we're in such a stronger position than most other states. We want to keep doing that. Every one of us has to mask up, including our student athletes.
All right, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.